Hey girl, welcome back to another video. Today is all about self-validation, okay? But before we dive in, I'm going to mention the clarity reset at the end. Not because I need to sell you anything, but because it's genuinely been the turning point for women who are done living off of borrowed validation. I've watched it regulate nervous systems, rebuild identity, and wake women up to who they actually are. So I'll share that at the end. Before we jump into this topic, let's take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 2 counts and exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. Let's go. That exhale just makes me want to go to sleep. Okay, now let's be honest for a moment. You cannot heal if your worth is waiting on someone else's applause. You can't rise, you can't grow, you can't evolve if you're still hoping someone looks at you and says, "You're doing such a good job." Every time you look outside for approval, you're handing someone else the remote control for your confidence. And what's scary and sad all at the same time is that the people that you've given the remote to, they don't even know what to do with it. Some of you don't need another compliment. You need connection to yourself. And if validation feels like oxygen to you, that means your soul has been gasping for air a very long time. You're not overthinking because you're dramatic. You overthink because you were taught that silence equals danger. You're not replaying conversations because you're obsessive. You replay conversations because you were taught that you're probably the problem. You're not over explaining because you talk too much. You over explained because disapproval felt like punishment. You're not constantly asking people, "Well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I have this idea. What do you think?" You're not doing that because you like intelligence. You're asking because your nervous system doesn't feel safe making decisions alone. Sit with it. Listen, you're not too needy. That's the lie you've been carrying. You are dysregulated. Your body is in survival mode. Your mind is scanning for danger. And your soul is tired of being the last voice you listen to. When the body never learned safety, approval becomes survival. You don't chase validation because you're weak. You chase it because your nervous system associates approval with not being abandoned, not being hurt, not being punished. And until you understand this, until you actually see the psychology and the identity piece, you'll think something is wrong with you. Hear me. Nothing is wrong with you, but something did happen to you. And now you've learned to outsource your worth as a survival skill. I'm going to help you unlearn that. We get to rewire your mind, regulate your nervous system, and bring you back to you. This is the beginning of learning to validate yourself. Let's talk about why you learned to look outside of yourself for approval, because none of this came out of nowhere. You didn't just wake up one day and say, "You know what? I'd love to question every decision and depend on other people so I feel okay." Nah, baby, this behavior was built. Once you understand where it came from, it makes it a whole lot easier to heal. If love had conditions, then performance became your love language. If the only time you felt seen is when you were behaving, achieving, fixing, pleasing, your nervous system learned that acceptance is earned, not given. If approval meant safety, you became whoever you needed to become in order to keep the peace. You shape shifted. You minimized yourself. You read the room before you even read your own heart. Some of you were raised in homes where your feelings were an inconvenience, where your voice was too loud, where your needs were brushed off. So you learned to disappear just enough to be tolerated. Baby, if you just tolerating me, you don't need to be connected to me. Now, as a grown woman, the same little girl who had to earn love is on the inside of you trying to earn validation. When your body is stuck in alert mode, reassurance feels like medicine. Oh, baby, it's a drug. When you've lived in environments where you never know what version of someone you're going to get, your nervous system scans for danger constantly. Hypervigilance pretends to be perfectionism. You think you're just trying to get things right, but really your body is trying to prevent rejection. You think you're being thoughtful. Nah, baby, you're really trying to reduce the risk of being misunderstood. You think you're asking for opinions because you value wisdom. Nah, you never learned to trust your own voice and you feel like you can't make a decision unless someone else approves of it. Again, you're not weak. This is a survival response. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was conditioned to do. When you don't know who you are, other people's opinions sound like direction. And you want to know a sad truth? Many women have never had the space to actually meet themselves, to sit with their own desires, to hear their own voice without drowning in everyone else's expectations. Hear me? You've been taking advice from voices that were never assigned to your calling. You've been molding yourself for people who don't even know who they are. You've been outsourcing your clarity to people who could never carry your destiny. So, of course, validation feels necessary. You don't yet trust the identity God actually gave you. Sit with it. This is not your personality. This is programming. This is not who you are. It's who you became when survival was your only option. And here's the good news. Programming can be rewritten. Your patterns can change. Your nervous system can calm. Your identity can solidify. Your voice can return. And this is exactly where the deeper work begins. The work of unlearning, rewiring, and rebuilding. Now, let's talk about what self-validation actually looks like. A lot of women hear the term validate yourself and they immediately think it means become cold, detached, unbothered to the point that you just don't care about anything. Y'all know how y'all do. I don't care. I'm unbothered. And I'm going to show y'all I'm unbothered. I'm approved, da da da. Baby, if you're still trying to prove something to them, you're bothered. You're bothered. Nothing's wrong with being unbothered. But unbothered people aren't trying to prove anything to anybody. You're bothered. That's not self-validation. That's shutdown. That's proof that you still need healing. Self-validation is about coming home to yourself. It's about trusting your own voice again. It's about building a relationship with yourself that's solid enough to withstand other people's opinions. This isn't about becoming hard. It's about becoming whole. Sit with it. She checks in with herself before she checks in with the world. She listens to her inner voice before she opens the door to external noise. She trusts her knowing more than their noise. She doesn't audition for rooms that she was born to dominate. She finally understands that she belongs without performing. When someone asks her, "What do you want?" she actually has an answer. A real one, not one she was trained to give, not the one that keeps the peace, the one that honors her truth. She becomes a woman who doesn't wait for permission to be who she already is. She doesn't fall apart when someone disagrees with her. She no longer interprets silence as rejection. She stops assuming the worst the moment someone becomes distant because her nervous system is no longer screaming danger every 2 seconds. Her peace is no longer held hostage by someone else's preferences. When your nervous system feels safe, you don't need constant reassurance. You don't panic when someone is quiet. You don't rush to fix what is broken. You don't spiral because someone took 3 hours to text back. Self-validation feels like, I'm okay even if they don't respond. I know who I am even if they don't approve. Their reaction doesn't define my reality. Her peace is internal, not rented from other people. Sit with it. She doesn't perform for approval. She pauses for perspective. She doesn't beg for closure. She validates her own truth. She doesn't contort herself to avoid being misunderstood. She doesn't shrink to make others feel comfortable. The old version of her rehearsed conversations in her head to make sure she sounded perfect. The healed version of her speaks from a grounded place and let the chips fall where they may. The old version of her needed confirmation from 5 different people because you know 5 is the number of grace. The healed version checks in with God, checks in with herself, and moves. Here are some real life behaviors you'll instantly recognize when you begin to validate yourself. You're going to be able to make decisions without polling 5 people. No longer will you be rehearsing conversations in the shower. You won't be spiraling and crashing out when someone gets distant. You'll be able to let other people have their opinions without their opinions rearranging your identity. You'll start trusting your discernment instead of begging for confirmation. God, I just need you to confirm it again. God, I just need you to confirm it 3 more times. He gave you a brain for a reason. You'll also be okay with being misunderstood. This is when you notice you're no longer over explaining yourself. You're no longer apologizing for existing. And even in healing, of course, you're going to give yourself grace, because there are times where my instinct, I used to apologize so much. And sometimes, every now and then, it'll come up for me to tell somebody, oh, I apologize. And I stop myself. Baby, we're not there anymore. She's not in survival mode anymore. What are you apologizing for? You'll see that you are no longer auditioning for acceptance. This is what healed womanhood actually looks like. Self-validation isn't loud. It's not ego-driven. It's not arrogance. It's a quiet knowing, a grounded confidence, a woman who finally trusts herself again. Once you taste that version of yourself, baby, there's no going back. Now, let's talk about the part nobody warned you about. What constantly seeking validation actually costs you. You will always shrink around people you need approval from. And you will never step into your purpose if you're just waiting for their applause. I need you to hear me. When you let people validate you, you also give them the power and the permission to invalidate you. Hello? That means your confidence is going to rise and fall based on their mood, their perception, their inconsistency, their silence, their tone, and their reaction. Baby, that's bondage. I'm talking emotional captivity. If you are dealing with chronic self-doubt, your nervous system is burnt out. When your nervous system is tired, overwhelmed, or dysregulated, you're going to question everything. Your decisions, your identity, your discernment. Is this me? Is this God? Is this the devil? I don't know who's talking to me right now. You won't know if something is wrong or if you're just anxious. Doubt becomes your default. Number 2, I'm giving you symptoms that you are a person who seeks validation from others. So number 1 was chronic self-doubt. You're dealing with chronic self-doubt, which is a sign your nervous system is burnt out. Number 2, write this down. Decision paralysis. It just leads to safety seeking. Baby, you indecisive. I used to brag about that. I thought it was cute. I'm so indecisive when it comes to, oh girl, I'm just so indecisive. Lord, these men, Renisha, what you want to eat? Where you want to go? What you want to do? I don't know. I'm just indecisive. Can you just make this decision? Baby, indecision isn't laziness. This is your body saying, yep, I need to stay safe. When approval equals safety, you cannot make decisions without checking in with someone else. Yeah, sit with it. Your brain pauses because it fears choosing wrong. Number 3, write this down. People pleasing, just fawning. People pleasing. This is just emotional survival mode. And here you go. I'm just being kind. I'm just being generous. No, I'm just being a good Christian. I'm just trying to be a good wife, a good mother, a good woman, a good auntie, a good sister, a good, in the name of Jesus. No, you're people pleasing and Jesus ain't pleased. People pleasing is a survival strategy. It's your nervous system saying, well, baby, if they're happy with me, they won't hurt me. That's not peace. That's fear wearing makeup. Number 4, write this down. Fragility. You're going to have an identity that is underdeveloped. It's so sad. I have seen women well over my age and younger, but even well over my age, that do not know who they are. It's sad. When your identity hasn't been nurtured, the smallest criticism feels like rejection. One negative comment can ruin your entire day. One disagreement makes you question your worth. You're fragile not because you're weak, but because your identity never had the chance to stabilize. Validation has become your backbone, not confidence, not clarity. Validation. Sit with it. This is why healing isn't optional. Not if you want peace, not if you want confidence, not if you want identity, not if you want freedom. This is the work right here. Untangling the parts of you that were built on approval and rebuilding the parts of you that were meant to stand on truth. If you want freedom, this is where it starts. Now, let's talk about how to actually begin validating yourself. And I want you to hear me clearly. This isn't just a switch you flip. This is a process, a rebuilding, a reintroduction to you. I'm giving you the framework today, but the deeper work happens inside you. These are the 5 pillars that will start the rewiring process. Number 1, first, you have to reclaim your inner voice. Notice when you automatically silence yourself. Notice when you shrink. Notice when you say, I'm fine, when you're really falling apart. Notice when you defer to everyone else's opinion because you don't want to cause conflict. Your truth deserves volume. Your truth deserves space. Your truth deserves to be honored by you first. If you don't validate your own voice, you'll always need someone else's approval to speak. Ask yourself, what do I actually think? What do I want? What feels right for me? I want you to journal these. Those questions alone will start waking your identity back up. Number 2, regulate before you decide. When your body is activated, everything feels like a threat. And a dysregulated nervous system will make you reach for external validation. Your body is just trying to feel safe before it feels decisive. Right now, I want you to inhale slowly through your nose and exhale even slower through your mouth. Let's do it again. Put one hand on your chest. I want you to take one breath that actually reaches your stomach. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Inhale and exhale slowly. When your nervous system settles, clarity rises. When your body calms, your voice gets louder. Decide from peace, not panic. Number 3, I need you to create internal proof. This step is huge. Document your wins. Document your progress. Document your strength. Your nervous system needs evidence, not opinions. When all of your validation has come from external sources, your internal file cabinet is empty. There's no record of your accomplishments, your resilience, your intuition proving itself. So your brain doesn't know what to trust. Every small win you write down becomes internal proof. Proof that you can trust yourself, proof that you can make decisions, proof that you're capable. The more evidence you collect, the less approval you crave. Number 4, build an identity you trust. Identity is the foundation. When you know who you are, validation becomes optional, not required. A weak identity will always chase opinions. A solid identity will always anchor itself. This is where you stop renting your worth from other people. This is where you stop outsourcing clarity. This is where you stop asking for permission to be the woman you already are. Identity-based confidence sounds like I trust me, I believe me, I know me. And number 5, detach your worth from their reactions. Silence is data, not rejection. Disagreement is perspective, not punishment. When someone doesn't respond, you don't spiral. When someone disagrees, you don't crumble. When someone pulls away, you don't assume it's your fault. Detach your worth from their reactions because their reactions were never a reflection of your value. This is where your shoulders finally drop and you exhale. This is where you realize, this is me. This is who I've been trying to become. These 5 pillars are the beginning. They open the door. They shift the way you see yourself and how you move through the world. But the deeper rewiring, the nervous system work, the identity integration, the emotional detox, that happens in the next step. You don't need applause to breathe. You don't need permission to exist. Your nervous system can learn peace. Your identity can be rebuilt. Your clarity can return. You cannot master self-validation without addressing the wounds the patterns, and the nervous system responses underneath it. And that's exactly what the Clarity Reset walks you through. If you are done outsourcing your peace, if you're tired of needing reassurance to feel safe, if you're ready to trust yourself again, the Clarity Reset is your next chapter. It's 7 days of nervous system detox, emotional untangling, and identity realignment. It's for the high achieving woman whose mind is loud, whose peace is fragile, and whose heart knows it's time to reset. Your clarity has always been on the inside of you. Let's reset everything that kept you from hearing it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.